All right, dads in recovery. We're back, and back. I just gonna try to be really brief here. Hang in. I love doing these videos, but I have a bit of a message today, the message is that things can get better if you're a dad in recovery, and let's say that you're not getting all the time you'd like to have with your kids. Maybe in some cases you're not getting any time you like to have with your kids, we've been doing Thursday night meetings. I was going to do 8 in a row, and then we've got another 1 day event coming up on the 7th of June, and last night there was a half a dozen of us there, and you know some of the men don't have access to their kids, and we got really honest last night. We got really honest. The question was, what's your part in this? And it's interesting that sometimes men want to hang on to the story. They want to be a victim. Say, the bitch, you won't let me see them. I didn't do anything. No, that's not true. What's your part? Often, what comes out of this is that the trust has been broken big time. And we were often in addiction. We did shitty things. We were, you know, addicted to getting our way. Sometimes we were angry, and even violent. And as much as we feel remorse for that, that doesn't just go away. If she's left taking the kids, it isn't just to be mean. She loves her kids. Fellas, moms love their kids, and they're sometimes they're angry, but sometimes they're afraid, and we've fucked up, and we need to own that. It doesn't matter what she's done or hasn't done, who she slept with, or whatever. All of that's not your business, right? Spent the money. What do you want? You want to be an active dad. You want to be trusted, active, loving, available, right? Compassionate, understanding father. And it begins by owning our part. So that's the deal. And last night it really happened. Of the half a dozen men there last night, it was just like, wow, the lights went on. And they saw how their resentment was killing them, drinking poison and thinking somebody else is going to be hurt. No, of course, your resentment's hurting everybody. The kids, yes, it's hard on her. If you're mad at her, sometimes fellas are mad at her family, because her family came to defend her. Her family perceived you as not a good influence, or as a bad man, if you will, and it's up to us to rebuild that relationship. And it doesn't happen overnight, but having conversations, honest conversations with other men about our part. We don't, in my Dad's in Recovery program, that's what we're doing. We're owning our stuff, and then something shifts in the ethers. Literally, something shifts in the ethers. And they can feel it. Your kids feel it. She feels it. Even before the phone call, before you start to rebuild the relationship, or something shifts, and they get it. That's a little mystic, but trust me, there's an energy. If you were married to this gal, or you had kids with her, she senses you. And if you're angry, she senses that. It's not safe. Right? So that's the deal. My goal is to help men become trusted, available, loving dads. And we have to move out of victim. The other thing that came out really clear was some of the men in the group last night have been struggling to stay sober. And Bill says that resentment is the number one offender. And it doesn't matter what recovery program you're in. Nobody says, yeah, it's okay to be angry and resentful. I mean, we own it. It's okay to be aware of it, but it's not okay to stay in it. And so that's the deal. So if you're a dad in recovery, if you have kids, if you're a mom, and it's in your best interest to have dad back in their lives. You know, kids that are dying of overdose, kids that are going to jail, kids that are getting teenage pregnant, are kids that don't have dads in their lives. Mostly. I mean, I'm not making that shit up. Those look the statistics up. They're easy to find now. We all have these little chat bots. Just go on and ask the question. You'll be blown away by the statistics of what happens to little girls and little boys who do not have their dad. And dads, if you've gotten mad and left, said fuck her, you're saying fuck them all. And it's time to wake up and grow up and own your peace. And that's one of the best ways to do that, is to be able to talk about it. There's no judgment here. We'll support you. So that's the deal. Thursday nights, and we've got we can do it on Zoom as well. It doesn't matter where you are, but it begins to open the door and hear other men's stories. That's it. I'm excited. Last night was really moving. It was like, wow, one of the men had a great story how he has had a shift and gone from being angry because she left, and the relationship has already started to change. They're talking for the first time in 8 months. He's talking to the mother of his daughter, and making plans to connect this summer. They've moved out of town, but they're going to come back for for a time. So that's beautiful. It's happening, and that's it. So if you're interested in really who benefits is the kids, right? But let's make peace, baby. Okay, love you so much, and share this. If you're watching it on YouTube, I do put it there. Follow, like, or subscribe, or whatever it is they call it. If it's on Facebook, make a comment. It helps the algorithms. More people see it, and there's a lot of men. Like, it's endless. I can't believe how many men are, and they quietly go about their business. I go to 12-step meetings, and there's lots of men there that have, first families. Now they have a second family, and they're not, they've just given up, and I'm here to help them to get the hope going again. Nobody gives up on their kids that it doesn't drive them crazy, because it does. Okay, love you. Talk soon, and make a comment. All right, thanks. Bye bye.